Sadiq Adams is joining us. Sadiq Adams, good morning. You look at the responses from government officials, not only from the sports ministry, but also the presidency. Is there any justification that Ghana, before the IMF for bailout, for which even from October up to just the last week, had a delay in the next tranche because we didn't get an approval from China, the Paris Club, etc., should be budgeting $8.5 million. In excess, you look at Ghana cedis, 105 million Ghana cedis.
Very much, Roland. There can be only two justifications for the budgeted $8.5 million for the AFCON. Two. One, anybody who tries to justify this is either parts of the loot.
Thank you.
And two, very ignorant of football, especially about the AFCON. These are the only two. If you see anybody trying to justify, the person is first and foremost part of the loot or has benefited grossly from this budget. Or secondly, the person doesn't know what football is about. I have curated the budget for almost 16 of the teams in the AFCON. And I can tell you for a fact, for instance, Namibia came to camp in Ghana and their budget is not up to $1.1 million. Namibia flew to Ghana, and that is inclusive of their budget, because the entire football budget of Namibia for the whole year, not the AFCON, the entire football budget in their country is $2.2 million. So they cannot spend that entire
you said
budget.
Namibia, that even did well than Ghana.
Yes. It's public knowledge. It was presented to their parliament. Not more than $2.2 million for the entire football in Namibia. So they couldn't have spent 1.1 million. So it is less than 1.1. Zambia budgeted $2.1 million for the AFCON. And it is a complete controversy in the parliament of Zambia because they don't believe. Roland, CAF caters for over 40 officials, the hotel accommodation, feeding, and other expenses, including domestic transport for the teams, is catered for by CAF. So when you want to budget 8.5 million for the AFCON, is either you, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the GFA have conspired to create loot and share, which has been the practice over the years. And I was being told by a former management committee member of the Black Stars in confidence, and I have records of this, that even the Ministry of Youth and Sports have their share in this budget. And this is also public knowledge in the Jamepe committee. It's a silent conspiracy theory between the ministry and the GFA, because it is quite unbelievable that anybody will stand up in this country and prepare a budget in excess of even $2 million for an African Cup of Nations that is close next door. Secondly, almost 85 to 90% of this will go into the payment of unscrupulous bonuses to individuals that extends to officials of the ministry who are paid with the taxpayer. How can you send a person from the Ministry of Sports to join the team in the expenditure of in expending for the team at the tournament, and the person is paid for? They have their per diem. Their hotel accommodation is catered by government, and the association ends up paying the person $10,000 as an appearance fee. How do you do this? The management committee spends 8 days in a tournament, ends up taking $100,000. It is because the ministry is part of the loot. They wouldn't even approve this. Nigeria, who we ridicule as being corrupt, presented a budget of less than $2 million for this AFCON, and they are still in the competition.
Nigeria?
I would even wonder. Of course, these are public knowledge. These are things that are public. You can easily Google. But because Ghanaians only care about the Black Stars when we win, people are, using that as a launch pad to siphon money, to dissipate. There is a wanton dissipation of resources from this Black Stars. It's become a crime scene. And until Mr. Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa brought this out, I had been inquiring from the ministry, and I was told that I was trying to disrupt the Black Stars campaign by asking for the budget before the tournament. And this was going to be concealed and the money looted till the next AFCON, because we did same during the World Cup. There are sponsors who sponsor the Black Stars. Corporate bodies are on board. These monies are never accounted for, and they still go to the ministry, ask for money from an IMF country. So the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Sports, and GFA are all engaged in this laid crime of a Black Stars team.
Now,
no
Sadiq,
wonder some of them.
Now, yes. Sadiq, my last question, because I know that you don't have much time, then we can continue the conversation. Is there any justification for making references to what had transpired pre-2017? That, it has always been the subject of non-controversy, of budgeting that high up, even high up to the point where there was a budget of $15 million pre-2017. And so that is a good justification for us to continue on this tangent.
Well, we have been at point in our lives as a country where we had enough money to spend on this luxury. We are at a point where we cannot even pay for, the renal unit of the Kolebu Hospital. These are issues, critical issues. And I'm not saying the justification is even sensible, because this national team can be catered for with $1 million and $2 million, as other national teams have done. It's the same competition. So why do you justify that another team, or there was a year that we budgeted 50 million? It is the same conspiracy I'm talking about. They go to blow it. So if you understand and you insist that $50 million budgeted pre-2015 or pre-2012 is enough and therefore a justification, and other teams have come to the same tournament with 1 million in 2023, where then is your justification? Are you justifying the thievery, or you are justifying prudent expenses? These are the two. You can only separate them. If you are justifying 50 million in 2015 and justifying same in 2023, it means that you are justifying thievery and the scandalous acts that surrounds the Black Stars.
Now, based on your experience, what should we do as a country to make sure that we do what is right by way of being austere, budgeting what is right when it comes to the Black Stars going forward?
We need to get government officials who understand the practicality of football, because I'm not sure the minister is even aware that CAF pays for almost 60% of the expenses, and even for FIFA. I'm not sure, because if you are aware, how then do you pay for the same expenses that are paid for FIFA? First and foremost, the appointment to the Ministry of Sports should be done by experts, people who understand football. And secondly, we should decouple the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We should make sure they are not Ministry for Football. And the National Sports Authority, by law, by the Sports Act, are supposed to be the ones who interrogate and probe budget. They are supposed to even do the budget, prepare budget for national teams. If the FA is allowed to prepare any budget they want, it is very easy for them to compromise any minister, because if you can get $2 million or $1 million as a minister from a Black Stars loot, definitely, no matter how genuine you are going to be compromised. So first and foremost, we must make sure that our institutions, especially the National Sports Authority, which by law is mandated to do all this, is set up properly, and not the political appointees who know next to nothing about sports.